Yo, what's going on, guys? In this video, we're going to be doing simple from HackMyVm. This block sort of balance solid easy. And yeah, let's get on to the video. As always, I'm starting putting my terminals here. I'm starting gain and discovered my sort 10.0.0.1/24/IT0. I'm starting grep out for PCS. Doing this, we do get the IP of the box for 10.0.146. So the control shows these for map scan. So the MMISSC for default scripts, my enumeration was scan on ports and IP. Doing this, I'll do my verbose. This can take some time, so I'm just going to more into scan.txt. Looking at the ports, we have port 80 open for HTTP. This is running Microsoft IIS for HTTPD, which since we do have this for IIS, I can start by uploading a ASPX shell. If we can upload a ASPX shell, we can upload a reverse shell, right? We also do have port 135 open for RPC, and also port 139, also port 445 open for SMB. So I'm servicing port 80. Doing this, we do get a coming soon here. So I'll just zoom in here. We do have a Roy, Marcos, Lander, Bogo, and also Viper for the work team. So these are some valid users that we can put into a user.txt later on. So I'll do control source code. And it doesn't seem like anything, right? So I'm start running a Go Buster. So the Go Buster to remote my student to the IP address. We'll do my stubby for user share or list or buster directory list within medium.txt. We'll do access the HTML, txt, and also PHP. So since we do have port 139, also port 445 open for SMB, we can actually start by using SMB map or SMB client or enum for links to actually enumerate for the services, which is going to be for SMB. But before doing that, I want to VI into a users.txt. We did have 5 users, I believe, for Roy, Marcos, Lander, Bogo, and also Viper. So put this into users.txt. What is this for? I didn't copy the was it RY or RUY? Yeah. RUY. We got Marcos, Lander, Bogo, and also Viper, right? So we do have those 5 users here. And clear our terminals here. Car user.txt. That was the 5 users that we do have from port 80. We do have I do want to run a before using CME, which stands for crack map exec. I do want to specify a enum for links so we can actually enumerate for users and see if we do get those users back as well, right? So I'll do 10.0.0 10.0.146. I'll put this to I'll put this to a file.txt and just keep this into a file. And it doesn't seem like we can get any users from SMB, right? Using enum for Linux. I also want to do this for SMB client. We'll specify -L. Or yeah, specify -L, so we can specify a we can list out the shares, right? We'll do 10.0.0 146, I believe. 146. Is there on that? We do get access denied. I also want to do this for SMB map. So do SMB map -h for 10.0.0 146. And we also do get a access denied as well. Next thing I'm doing is going to try CME. So we can do CME SMB for 10.0.0 146. We'll specify this for, I just want to try this for random users. We'll do this for test. We'll do -p for test. Do -my shares. Let's out the shares. And we do get a login failure. So doing this, I'm going to actually do -u for a user.txt. Also specify this for users.txt as well for -p. Just to test for basic username and password for the same for default creds for the same password for as the users as well, right? So Roy, Marcos, and same for each one using for each user, right? So get this, we do get a simple for Bogo. So if I do try this, take off the shares for this, would do Bogo. Just want to confirm that this is a valid user. It is for Bogo. Now we do have a valid username and password as Bogo. We'll do -my shares. And here we do have a couple of shares here. So we do have IPC, which is usually by default. We do also have logs for read. So we can only do like this for read only. We can also test this out for, we do SMB client. We can do -L. Just to test that this is a valid user. We can do 10.0.0 146. Let's just find -u for, let's do, this for what? This was for logs. Also did have the user for Bogo. So this password is Bogo. And you do see that we do have the same thing for IPC. logs, and also web. But in this case, SME will specify this for the permissions for read, for IPC, and also logs for read. SMB client won't do that for us. So we do take off the -L. This will let us to go inside the SMB for the share. We do BOGO. With this, we do dir, and now we do have a 202 log. Cat this log right here. Cat this 202. And we do have a log file under here. So we do have a net use here for the /user for Marcos. We did have a valid user for Marcos, right? So we did have valid user Marcos, followed by his password. So we do have his password as super password. Just to confirm this again, we can go back into the command for CME. Specify the shares for Marcos, or we didn't have the user for Marcos, right? And we do have this for Marcos specified by the password for super password. And for the logs, we do have this for read. And it does seem like Marcos does have web for read and write. So I'll do SMB client, or just search for SMB client. We don't have it under SMB client, specify 10.0.140, 146 for, it's for web. Let's specify -U for Marcos. Specify his password. We do dir. Now under here, we do have a index.html. So I'm going to make a new directory for files, cd into files. What I'm going to do is actually start by testing start testing if I can get that file, right? Also put files under this SMB share. Put that in there. I want to get this index.html. We'll cd into files under here. And we do have this index.html. Looking at this, this should be the one for port 80. It seems like this is the same source. We do have this for Fury, Marcos, Lander, BOGO, and Viper. Looking at this, we also do have this for Rube, Marcos, Lander, BOGO, and Viper. So there's no difference between both, right? Going back, I want to start by creating a touch. If I do the touch command, I want to create an empty file. So I do touch for upload.txt. We don't have anything under this upload.txt. We try putting this. We do have write permission. So that means we can use the put command to put files under this SMB share. So you do put for upload.txt. Now if we do check this under the base directory, right, for the root directory, we do this for upload.txt. You'll see that we don't have anything under here, the contents, which we did upload. So now I want to start by getting a, since we do have this for IIS for Windows, we have this for port 80, I get this for Microsoft IIS for HTTPD. We can start by uploading a ASPX. So I'm going to copy from user. I do have this under user share word list, ASPX for shell.aspx. I'm going to be adding to shell.aspx. We'll change the port to, or the IP address. We'll do this for 10.0.70 on port 9001. Put a right quit out of this. Just going to more into shell. We do have the valid IP address and also as well the port as 9001. We'll start my list to all RABNet HackMyVm on 9001. I actually do need to upload this to, I go to, I am under, I put this under for shell.aspx. You need to upload that first. So do shell.aspx. Go back to our listener. We do who am I? And now I am under default app pool. So I want to start by doing some basic enumeration. Going back, I want to check for doing this enumeration on some users. I want to check if we do have the user for Marcos. If we go back, it is for dir. Let me zoom in. We do have this for users in Windows. cd into users. We do dir. We have this for Marcos. And we do get access denied for Marcos. So the command to switch users on Windows is going to be for run as. So the run as command will let me to switch users to Marcos. So basically, by default, we don't have ATTY. We did get a reverse shell. So basically, if I do want to switch users to Marcos, I can do user for Marcos and specify the password for pass123 do cmd. This will let me to run as Marcos. But in this case, since we don't have ATTY, I do want to run a GitHub repository like a exe file for run as CS. in case I ever do want to switch to the user for, or just to like another user, right? Go into this, we do have this run as. If you go into the repository, let's go into run as. You'll see that here it will let me switch to a user, which I do want to run this run as cs.exe, specify the user password cmd.exe, and this will run a specific command to remote host. So in this case, it's going to be from my IP address to the port, and this will run it as Marcos since we are running that cmd.exe. So let's start by doing that. So going back up here, we do have a release. Go to the releases. And under here, since I don't have assets, I do want to copy this from my Windows machine. So I copy link address. I do have this link address for this run cs.zip, which you will see under under the assets. So I'll make a directory for mkdir for run, cd into run. We get the zip file. Now we can unzip this run as cs. You'll see that we do have two files, run as cs.exe. So do python 3 -m http.server import 8021. I want to go under program data. It's kind of like the dev/shm on Windows or on Linux. So do dir. We don't have any other files. We don't have any other files under here. So do curl http to 0.070 import 8081. We can now put this to a run as same file name. So we do dir. Now we do have this run cs.exe. Look at this. We can look at the documentation for this. We go into this run as. We do have the specific command for the remote host. We can specify the username and also the password. So let's start by doing that. So we do have this for run as cs.exe. Specify the user as Marcos. Also did have that password, which is under 202 super password. We'll do cmd.exe. I believe it was -r for the remote host for 10.0.070 on port 9002. We'll do this on 9002. So we'll do Control-Shift-O. We'll do all our app. HackMyVm on 9002. Press enter on that. So I do who am I. You'll see that I am under the user for Marcos. So going back, using this run CS, we're able to transfer, or actually without a TTY, we can actually redirect a cmd.exe to a remote host, switching to that user for Marcos, specifying the user 1 and also password 1 for Marcos, and also a super password that we specify inside the command. So under here, since we are under Marcos, now we can get that user or that user.txt, right? So we can go back, we do dir. I believe it's under, we do dir. We do have this for users. Let me zoom in. Do dir. We have this for Marcos. Now we can cd into Marcos. I believe for Windows is always under desktop. Dir. I can do type for user.txt. So now since we do have our user.txt for Marcos, if I go under who am I am under the app pool or default app pool. So now I'm going to run a who am I /priv. Under here, we do have a SE impersonate privilege. Using this SE impersonate privilege, we do have this for juicy potato. So if I do this for juicy potato, we'll do this for exploit GitHub. This will let me to actually do like a Windows privilege escalation within RDP. Just doing this, you can do this for using MSFVenom for netcat.exe binary. We can also do this for the CLSIDs. Going into like the hack tricks, you'll find something better. We go into hack tricks. Yeah, this for juicy potato. You see that they do specify the port and also, or the, I guess this is for -L. What's the -L for? What's going to be listening for the port for the COM server. And -P for the exe, and they do execute a netcat exe and run a shell for 443 back on their listener. So that's doing that for potato or for juicy potato. The program I like using is going to be for rug potato. I think you spell this rug potato. I'm not sure if I spelled that right. Rug potato for exploit. This is the one I like using, which does contain using RDP. We do have SOCAT for the TCP listen for 135 for RDP. Going back or redirecting this traffic from 135 from Rug Potato, going this to the server IP and going back to Rug Potato on port 9000, whatever you listen on within the command. So you can go into the Rug Potato released. Under here, you'll have like an assets under here. I'm going to copy this to my, since I don't have the link under here, I'm going to go to my Windows machine. If I copy link location, I will have this for rugpotato.zip. So I'll do this for, I believe I did have a directory for run. If I wget this, I do this for Rug Potato, or we do unzip this Rug Potato. And we do have this rugpotato.exe. So do python 3 -m http.server on port 8081. We do have curl on Windows, so do a curl HTTP for 10.0.070 on port 8081. I'll put this to Rug Potato. And we do have this rugpotato.exe. Looking into the options, I just want to make sure that this can run. And we can run this. Going into the example, I want to go back to the repository. Let's first start by copying the SOCAT command and specifying this for the server IP, followed back to what we want to put on the Rug Potato. So we'll just delete this actually. So we do SOCAT, we'll do this for 135, which can be for RDP. We have this for 10.0.0.1, 46. We'll do this on port, I'll just do port 9000. So any traffic that goes to our machine from 135, it's going to redirect back to the server on 9000 for Rug Potato, getting us a shell on our other listener. Let's go into, let's copy the executable. So we do Rug Potato, specify -r for 10.0.0.70. We'll do a -e. Before running this, let's actually, can I press enter without no error? Yes, I just want this to be in my history. I just want to do this for where PowerShell. I do this for where PowerShell. And we do have the full path for what we want to execute. So we can do -c, specify the PowerShell, which is going to be execute for PowerShell. In this case, you can also, if you want to test that this command is running correctly, you can also do like a cmd.exe. Pinging your own IP address and starting like TCP dump. But doing this, I like specifying PowerShell. We do -c, so we can execute command for IEX. IEX is going to be for just to allow us to actually get them. I forgot what the definition was for what it means. I believe it's like invoke something. It's invoke something, but doing this PowerShell command will allow us to get us a file from our server. So do IWR for HTTP 10.0.0.70. We do have some port 8021. I do want to get like a rev.ps1. PS1 is going to be a PowerShell, like a PowerShell file type, so we can actually get reverse shell, which is going to execute back on our port that we do specify. So do use basic parsing. So use basic parsing, and we can do -l. In this case, we do have -l for listening on this port. In this case, we did have this listening on port 9000, so we can specify 9000. We'll do all rep, netcat -lvp on 9000. We'll do this on 9001. Since we'll specify this in the rev.ps1. We'll do Control-Shift-O again. I believe I do have under PS1 under user share word lists. Let's see what I do have under here. You have Nishang. It's under shells. Let's check under shells. We have under shells. But I guess we can do TCP one line bind. We have HTTP, HTTPS. We'll do a TCP one line. Let's copy this one here. So I'll just do VI to invoke. We'll take off, this is commented out, we'll take this off, take that off. We'll put the IP address for 10.0.0.70. We'll go into interactive mode for 10.0.0.0.70. I will specify this on port 9001 since I'm going to be getting Going to be 9000, specify this on 9000. It's going to go to this rev.ps1, execute it, and go back to our reverse shell. So it is for 9001. So do Python 3 minus m http.server, import it 8081. I just want to cat this invoke just to make sure I do have this on 10070 on port 9001. Press it on that on port 8081. So now we do have this set up. So any traffic that we do have, it's going to hit this TCP at 135, going to port 9000. It's going to go back to the server. It's going to hit from this server to my server on 135. This can RDP redirect that traffic back to 146 for this server on 9000, which is going to be 9000 for this rug potato, and then executing or getting our file from this our server on port 8081 for this Python server. Getting that rev.ps1, executing and getting a shell on 9001, right? Press it on that. We didn't get a hit from 8081. And I think because we don't have did we get a hit? We did get a hit on IEX. On port 81, we did get the use basic parsing on port 9000. Did I specify this correctly on the reverse shell? Just to make sure I am getting a hit. Message not found. Oh, it's because I didn't specify the, if I do invoke, I need to move this to rev.ps1. Because I did have this for invoke. So I just start that Python server one more time. It does get the file, so now we do know it does get the file from that Python server. Press it on that. We do dir. We do who am I. And I'm under authority system, so we can go back into dir. We do have this for users. We do have this in Spanish, so I'm going to copy this. So we do dir for that. We can go back into the flag is under desktop. We do have this for root.txt, changes to type, and cat root.txt. Hope you guys very much enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.